Hello, I'm Betsy Peterson. I'm the director of the American Folklife Center here at the Library of Congress. And on behalf of all the staff, I want to welcome you today to this latest presentation in our ongoing Benjamin Botkin lecture series. Just a word for those who don't know much about the series. The Botkin series is an opportunity for the American Folklife Center to highlight and showcase the very best scholarship and work by leading scholars in the disciplines of folklore, ethnomusicology, oral history, and other cultural heritage fields. It also allows us to enhance our collections. This is an acquisition for us, if you want to look at it that way. The library captures each of the presentations on video, and we add the files to our permanent collections. In addition, the lectures will make their way onto the website and will be posted as webcasts on the library's website in a few months, where they'll be available to people around the world and for generations to come. So with that said, this little caveat, if you do have a cell phone on or any other electronic device, if you would please turn it off now, we would really appreciate it. So today's event is actually kind of a special edition of the Botkin Lecture. It is a theatrical reading of the play Black Pearl Sings, which will be followed by a discussion with our actors, Roz White and Susan Galbraith, facilitated by N.J. Mitchell. And all of our guests are affiliated with the Alliance of New Music Theater, who are staging a full production of this play this spring. The play was written in 2006 by Frank Higgins, and the play is inspired from some of our collections and by the relationship between John Lomax and Huddie Ledbetter, most commonly known as Leadbelly. Set in Depression-era Texas, Black Pearl Sings imagines a meeting between a white musicologist from the Library of Congress and a jailed African-American woman with a strong footing in musical traditions. The evocative story traces a journey of race and reconciliation, religion and tenacity, and healing and understanding while exploring the preservation of cultural heritage. So a discussion will follow this reading, and it will focus on the ways in which the library's extensive primary source collections inform the creative artistic process, how artists work with this material, and we'll welcome questions from the audience. But right now, before we kick it off, I'm going to turn things over to NJ, and thank you and welcome.
I don't have much to say because Betsy did such a wonderful job. Didn't she give a wonderful job? Should we give her a hand? Again, my name is N.J. Mitchell, and on behalf of Alliance for New Music Theater, we are so pleased with the Library of Congress hosting this event. And we want to particularly thank the Folklife Center. We want to particularly thank Daniel Murray Foundation. We really, really appreciate all of the support that we got from the Civil Rights Exhibit Department with Carol Johnson Welsh. If I'm forgetting anybody, I don't mean to. Oh, Guha, who is the head of the Folklife Center, and John Finn, who did the work of putting this together, and we're really grateful, John. Thank you so much. Let's give him a hand. And I want to bring your attention to our brochure and make sure that you see on the back that we have other performances that are coming up, that we would love to see your faces again in the audience. And I look forward to leading the discussion that follows and getting a lot of answers from you guys, so pay attention. Thank you so much.
Act 1, Scene 1. In the dark, Pearl begins to sing off stage.
Down on me, Lord, down on me.
Lights up.
Seem
On a warden's
like
office at a prison
everybody
farm
in this
during a
whole
fierce
wide
Texas summer
world
day in
is
1933.
down on me.
Susanna
Down
is packing up her
on
auto harp
me, dear
and preparing to
Lord,
leave
down on me.
when she becomes interested in the singing.
Seem like everybody in this whole wide world is down on me.
Hey! I want whoever that is singing brought in here.
Seem like
Pearl enters in black and white prison stripes. She's there for killing a man. Her ankles are shackled together, and she carries a ball and chain. Well, none of the other women wore jewelry. Sit here.
I can stand.
The warden won't know. I told him, stay out. Have the other women told you who I am?
No, ma'am. But if you be from the parole board, don't let this thing fool you. I be a good person.
No, I don't give paroles. It's okay to look me in the eye. What's your name?
Alberta Johnson. Friends call me Pearl.
Well, Pearl. Can I call you Pearl?
You just did.
Why you're in prison is none of my business. But you sing better than the other women. People with good voices usually know a lot of songs.
Ma'am, if you can't get me a parole, what can you give? Because I don't need another white woman and a girdle telling me about God.
It's not who I am. Although in the way I do save souls.
Can you save my daughter? She be in Houston. That's where I was trying to get. Maybe you can go save her.
No. Look, my name is Susanna Mullally. I work for the Library of Congress. I go around the country to find songs from the people. I found that prisons are a pretty good place to look for old songs. If I find a song we don't already have, I use a machine to record the person.
Where'll be this machine?
Car.
You drives a car. You be the first woman I ever know to drive her own car. Why you do all this?
When a person dies, a library is lost. History isn't made just by kings and presidents. People who pick cotton and cook meals. Got a lot to do with it, too. And there are things they believe in so much, they sing them.
Like what?
I found a song once from an old Shaker woman on her deathbed. Do 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 do. 'Tis a gift to be simple. We're lucky I found that song. Shakers don't believe in having sex. You know what that makes Shakers? Scarce. I'm trying to keep the songs of your people from dying out like the Shakers. My biggest dream is to find a song that goes back before slavery time. It came here from Africa.
You a white woman, and this be your dream.
If I can find a song that came here on the slave ships, you know what that would do? We could prove to the whole world that a song can be stronger than even slavery chains.
Has you ever been in chains?
Pearl, can I be blunt?
Blunt saves time.
Your warden recommended several women to me, but not you. Until I know someone's got something I can use, I can't waste time lugging in that machine. None of the others had a song I hadn't already had. You'll have to show me something more than they did. You're old enough. Were either of your parents slaves?
Yes.
So, If they taught you a song from their childhood, there's a song from slavery time. What's the oldest song you know, Pearl Johnson?
What you get out of it?
I just told you.
You get the joy of saving our songs, but you can't eat joy. What you get out of it?
If I'm lucky, I get my grant renewed. That means I don't have to work as a clerk or get married.
So, if I give you something I got, you get money, but I don't?
I'll give you a cigarette for a song.
You don't get my soul for no cigarette. Now, if I had some money, I could give it to somebody to go look for my daughter.
I'm not paying till you prove you are special enough to record. And you haven't proved to me that you know anything yet.
Same for you, ma'am.
I'm not an expert on your people yet, but I want to be.
Can I be blunt, ma'am?
Blunt saves time.
You ain't no young woman. By now, you ought to be an expert at something, so how come you not?
We're wasting time, Pearl.
I don't want to sing to no private. I want to sing to a general who can do something for me. And since you want something I got, the least you can do is call me Miss Johnson.
Wait. What is it you want to know, Miss Johnson? Ask whatever you want.
This job. They pay you money to listen to people sing. Must be a lot of folk wanting this job, but you got it. So how come you ain't no expert?
Well, I am an expert on songs from the Southern Mountains.
Prove to me you be an expert.
You may know the melody. People in America put new words to it, so it goes like, "Oh, don't you remember sweet Betsy from Pie?"
That song sung by Peckerwood.
Yes. But I have to call them rural, non-traditionally educated Caucasians. Back in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, I found an old woman who'd learned the song with different words when she was 6. See if you can see where she learned these words. Oh, when I was single, I had a plaid shawl, and all of the girls were jealous and all. Still, I love him, I'll forgive him, and I'll go with him wherever he goes, singing do-rally.
Why are you excited about that song?
Well, she learned it on the boat coming from Ireland, about the time people were fleeing Ireland because of the potato famine. And she also knew a different melody to it, the original Irish melody with the original words. He came up to the farmhouse. No. Up to the farmhouse, and he whistled me out. The tail of his shirt from his trousers hung out. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, and I'll go with him wherever he goes. He gave me a handkerchief, red, white, and blue, and said, I am leaving, why don't you come too? Red, white, and blue. He's going to America. Still, I love him, I'll forgive him, and I'll go with him wherever he goes. When I was single, I had a plaid shawl, and now that I'm married, I've nothing at all. Still, I love him, I'll forgive him, and I'll go with him wherever he goes. You see? Well, she goes with him to America. But she's had to sell or barter her shawl for food. The song is a warning that times will be hard in America and that people have to stick together.
You get all that from the song.
Oh, it's the biggest discovery I've ever made. You can turn that song into a college teaching job at an Ivy League school.
So why you didn't?
Do you know any old songs or not?
I know some play songs I learned when I was a child. My mama learned them when she was a girl, too.
That gets us back to slavery time.
So how about some money?
Song first.
We call this Little Sally Walker.
I got that.
There's different Sally Walkers. How yours go?
Little Sally Walker,
Bad,
sitting.
bad. You got to let your body flow.
Okay, so let me see you flow.
Hard to flow with a ball and chain.
Try.
First thing, there's different ways for how old you is. Your way be fine if you 5 years old. But when you sweet on a boy, your body talks. Little Sally Walker sitting on a saucer. Rise, Sally, rise. Wipe your weeping eyes. Put your hands on your hips and let your backbone slip. Now shake it to the east. Now shake it to the west. Now shake it to the one that you love the best.
That shaking's nice. Can I see that all again?
Can I see 50 cents? Dance with me. Now let loose your hips. Little Sally Walker sitting on. Loose up. Rise, Sally, rise. Wipe your weeping eyes. Put your hand, let it flow. Hips and let your backbone slip back. Now shake it to the east. Now shake it to the. Now shake it to the one that you love the best.
Okay. No, I think I got it. I think I got it.
No. I can tell you ain't never danced nasty.
Sing it again.
Little Sally Walker
Sitting on a saucer. Rise,
Sally,
rise.
Wipe
Your weeping eyes. Put your hands on your hips and your backbone slip. Now shake it to the east. Now shake it to the west. Now shake it to the one that you love the best.
Again.
Okay. Little Sally Walker sitting on a saucer. Rise, Sally, rise. Wipe your weeping eyes. Put your hands on your hips and your backbone slip. Now shake it to the east. Now shake it to the west. Now shake it to the one that you love the best.
Faster. Little Sally
Walker sitting on a saucer. Rise and rise. Wipe your weeping eyes. Put your hands on your hip
and let your back
slip. Now shake it to the east. Now shake it to the west. Now shake it to the one that you love the best.
You dance like that now in public, they're gonna throw you in prison.
Whoa. That was okay. What else you know?
We ready to do a recording yet?
Oh, not yet. Sing me the oldest song you know.
How I know how old a song is?
Well, if your grandmother said she learned a song from her grandmother, and maybe her grandmother before that.
I wouldn't know about that.
I think you do. I think you knew who I was before you came in here. I think you sang that song down on me, knowing I'd hear it, knowing I'd like it, and knowing I'd invite you in here. And you've been sizing me up ever since you came. I think you're trying to decide how to play me.
Well, you think wrong, ma'am.
Then at least give me a song with more meat on it.
Me?
Pain. You know something about pain?
Yes, I must. Oh, Lord, and now trouble so hard. Oh, Lord, trouble so hard. Don't nobody know my troubles but God. Don't nobody know my troubles but God. Went in the room, didn't stay long. Looked on the bed, my mother was dead. Oh, Lord, and now trouble so hard. Oh, Lord, and trouble so hard. Don't nobody know my trouble but God. Don't nobody know my trouble but God. Went in the room, didn't stay long. Looked on the bed, my child was dead. Oh, Lord, and now trouble so hard. Oh, Lord, trouble so hard.
Well, I guess I better get some men to lug in that recording machine.
Not yet. Only way I make a recording for you is if you look up an address for me in Houston.
Drive all the way to Houston and ask people who don't want to talk to me?
If you want songs.
Look, don't be silly. Here, I'll get you $1 to record that song.
Keep it.
$3.
You can pay me 30 pieces of silver and I still say no. Now, do you want songs or not?
Okay. I'll do it, Miss Johnson.
Call me Pearl.
I'm going to do another scene from Act 2, Scene 1, and this takes place in New York City. And actually what has happened before this is Pearl Johnson does indeed let us know that she knows the song all the way back to Africa, but she doesn't give it to Susanna. Susanna does go and look for Pearl's daughter, and Pearl gets recorded nonetheless. And the two women, spending time together, actually take the train up to New York because Susanna gets a parole for Pearl Johnson. And they go up to sing at Cooper Union on the behest of Carnegie Foundation. So this Act 2, Scene 1 takes place in New York City. The lights come up on a Greenwich Village apartment as Susanna and Pearl enter with their bags. Pearl, who has never been so cold, has a scarf around her neck. And right about where you're sitting, ma'am, there's imagine a large carved African head statue right there. And a bowl of fruit is out on a table with a telegram. Oh, you'll get warm in no time. A bedroom's back there with the bathroom off of it.
Mercy. And you sure your friend don't mind me staying here?
Oh, she insisted. And we won't be overcrowded. Well, she's staying with some friend.
No, that ain't right.
Oh, nonsense. She's a do-gooder. But rule one, when do-gooders want to do you a favor, let them.
This do-gooder got an African head.
Oh, she got that in the Congo. Do you like it?
It's not real, right?
It's art, not a trophy.
So, do Africans got white people heads in their room?
I wouldn't know.
I need a nap.
Oh, no. I'll sleep on the couch. You get the bedroom.
Your friend don't mind somebody colored sleeping in her bed.
This is Greenwich Village. She's a bohemian.
We don't got that word in Texas.
Bohemians? They want to be artistic, but they don't have talent. You sleeping in her bed makes the bed more special to her.
No.
We're in the artistic part of town. Right across the street is a famous house.
That thing?
The poet, Edna St. Vincent Millay, lives there. It's the narrowest house in New York.
How you know all this?
I lived here. This was my apartment.
You and your parents lived here?
No. They still live up by the park. I moved in here after college.
Your parents gonna come to our show?
No.
Why not?
That house. You can stand in the center and reach your arms out and almost touch the walls.
On the island, we had cabins only that wide. They got mistook by outsiders for big outhouses.
That's good. Mention that tonight. In fact, you should say more about the island than Texas. Your oldest songs come from there, and the island's got this exotic name. Nobody's ever heard of it. Hilton Head.
Nap time.
Wait. Hey. Telegram. Oh, this is from the other woman who works with the library. I wrote her about your daughter and Hilton Head. She's changed her plans. Well, she sent this from Savannah. She's taking a boat to the island tomorrow. She'll look up your sister first thing.
Well, hallelujah.
Yeah, who knows? Your daughter could have reached the island by now. Huh?
That make it easy for me to go to sleep.
She says, since she'll be there anyway, she might as well do some song collecting herself. Well, thank you, Zora Neale Hurston. Pearl, let's rehearse.
We do that on the train.
Another time won't hurt.
That telegram changed things for you.
No,
Seemed like it.
no. We got here first. But just in case, we need to be perfect. So, we'll start with a slavery song from the island,
Little Sally Walker.
and then we'll talk about names. Pearl, tell us how many of the people in Hilton Head got their names.
Lots of folks named they chillin' after something important to them. I had an auntie named after the biggest crop her father had, okra.
And so it is for people living close to nature.
'Cause my husband hate that. He say, how somebody name their child okra? I say it's the old ways. The old ways is wrong. What if we have twins? What you gonna name them? Biscuit and gravy?
Can we just stick to the script? And tell us, Pearl, How did you decide to give your daughter a special name?
We give her a name so she know how unique she is. Unique what?
The oppressed people often have nothing but their names to remind them of who they are.
Why have somebody colored name their child unique with folklore? Ain't your name folklore too?
It's not.
How come your mama named you
No,
Susanna instead
no.
of Susan?
No, it's not part of the show.
Should be. What if we do the show in Africa? Maybe this guy want to know why white people name their children Bob.
It's stupid. My mother named me for the song Oh Susanna.
Think your life would have been easier to use okra?
Pearl.
My people name their children after something to help them survive. Maybe your mama named you Susanna after a song
No,
to help her survive.
Pearl.
Maybe when she say Susanna, that'd be her way of singing. Maybe we should invite her to the show and ask her.
Back to the script. Or else, look, we're going to screw up the show. And everything we've worked for will be for nothing.
You mean if I don't do things right, they don't like me?
There's a way to present things to people.
So there is a chance they don't like me. We make a mistake coming here.
Oh, no.
But why should they like me? There's nobody in New York that sings.
Not the songs you know.
But what about my trouble? They're going to be put off by prison.
They love that you were in prison. The program tonight is sponsored by the Radical Women of the Historical Society. They call it Herhistorical. She sings authentic songs and she cut off a pecker. Perfect.
Cutting off a pecker is easy. I'm sure there's some woman in here in New York that can cut off a pecker and sing. Why is she not perfect?
Because she's not authentic. Nothing in New York is. It used to be, but then it came here and became something else.
No, the white people in Texas never cared about this stuff. These people won't either.
You're wrong.
No. We should. You don't tell me I'm wrong. I know what white people think about colored people better than you do.
You're just having stage fright.
No, those people. You tell them, call them, tell them we're not coming.
Oh, no.
Tell them I'm sick.
Oh, no.
Tell them whatever.
No.
Just tell them we canceling.
No, we're not canceling.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't yes, ma'am, me. I'm trying to help.
So was Jesus, but he didn't shout the Sermon on the Mount.
His audience wasn't trying to cancel the show. Pearl.
I don't care to hear you talk for a while, thank you.
You like fruit, right? You didn't see any for 10 years? So here, dig in.
It's because of berries I meet the man I married. Back on the island when Thomas was a boy, his father sent him out with a wagon to sell. He used the fruit to flirt with all the females. I got blackberries, fresh and fine. I got blackberries, lady, fresh from the vine. I got blackberries, lady, 2 pounds for a dime. I got anything you need. I'm the got 'em man.
That's good. Oh, if I'm allowed to speak. Tell me more about him.
That man, even as a boy, he bragged. I'm gonna jump down, turn around, pick a bale of cotton. I say, boy, you can't pick no bale a day. Nobody can. You just lie. Then he told me he not gonna be no cotton picker. He gonna run away. See the world. be a Pullman porter on the biggest train in the country. He say, that train's so big, to make it, took the biggest steel mill in this country 2 years, working on a 36-hour day and a 9-day week. I say, boy, you lying. He say, that train got a car. That train got so long that when the conductor go to take the tickets, he got to ride up and down the aisle on a motorcycle. That train, so fast, when it come to a stop, it's still going 60 miles an hour. He did leave. He did become a Pullman porter. I was sure I'd never see him again. When I be churning butter, there was a little song I used to sing. The milk's in the pitcher, the butter's in the bowl. You can't catch a sweetheart to save your soul.
Let's put your husband in the show. His call, his story, and the song you sang about him, churning while you churn the butter.
You do that for me?
Yeah, we'll make a show that will become so famous that even if your daughter's not on the island, she'll hear about you and she'll come find you.
That sounds good.
Pearl, sometimes I can be a little overbearing. But I know what I'm doing. We didn't get here by accident. The show will go well. So can you trust me?
Yes, Susanna.
And the actors step up to the apron and bump right into the Cooper Union scene. The lights change and the sound of an audience applauding is heard. Thank you. For the final song of the night, we've chosen one that was composed after the Civil War. Its author is lost to history, and the song was almost lost as well. But thanks to Pearl, the song and the people the song is about live on. And thanks to the Carnegie Foundation's grant to the library, it will live forever.
So, would you like to help out on the song now?
Pearl, some of us here are educated, right? Stuffy folk, and who might not want to sing.
Oh, you'll be fine. Now, I need you folks on this song. So when I point, you sing in a low voice, many thousand gone. Let's try that. Many thousand gone. That was pitiful. Let's try that again. Many thousand gone. Better, better. Here we go. Miss Susanna. No more auction block for me. No more, no more, no more auction block for me. Many thousand gone. Again. Many thousand gone. No more driver's lash for me. No more, no more, no more driver's lash for me. Many thousand gone. Many thousand gone. Oh, no more master's call for me. No more, no more, no more master's call for me. Many thousand gone. many thousand gone. Oh, no more slavery chains for me. No more, no more. No more slavery chains for me. Many thousand gone, many thousand gone. One more time. Many thousand gone.
Thank you for inviting us.
Let's do
And
another
thank you. Pearl, as my mother used to say, when you go to a party, leave too soon.
And as my mama taught me, don't hide your light under a bushel. Back in Hilton Head, we don't call the church a church. It be a praise house. And y'all's voices be good enough to fit right in.
Oh, no, maybe not everyone here is religious.
Don't have to be. Just sing. If ain't no singing in heaven, I don't want to be there. And we got a hat we passing around.
Oh, no. We don't pass a hat. It doesn't look professional.
But I'm not a professional. The whole reason I'm here is because I'm an amateur. Of course, the Ark was built by amateurs. The Titanic was built by professionals.
Pearl, no. Pearl.
Now, you're going to sing these words in a low voice, but you're going to go up like this. Kumbaya. Let's try that. Kumbaya. And then you're going to go back down. Kumbaya. Everybody. Kumbaya. Good. Okay. It's kumbaya, Lord. Kumbaya. It's kumbaya, Lord. Kumbaya. It's kumbaya, Lord. Kumbaya. Oh, Lord. Kumbaya. Me mother needs you, Lord. Kumbaya. Me mother needs you, Lord. Kumbaya. Me father needs you, Lord. Kumbaya. Oh, Lord. Kumbaya. We need you, Lord. Kumbaya. We need you, Lord. Kumbaya. We need you, Lord. Kumbaya. Oh, Lord. Kumbaya. Then you chant. Kumbaya. 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 Brother need you, father need you, sister need you, brother need you, Lord we 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 need you. One more time. Kumbaya, kumbaya. You good.
Library of Congress community. You have just become family. You know, sitting around in this cozy space and listening to both of these scenes. We got a couple of questions that you can help us with. We're in the process of this production, and we'll be putting on a full production, but sharing these two scenes with you is very important to us, and we'd like to get your feedback. So my first question is, why do you think Susanna worked so hard to get Pearl out of jail? Why do you think she worked so hard to get her out of jail?
And I travel all over, which you didn't hear, but I travel all over to find her daughter after first just meeting her.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a...
Oops. Oh, we're going to We're gonna pass the mic. Uh-oh.
So this is for the recording.
Okay.
I think she found potential in Pearl, and she sort of liked her and was thinking that this could be somebody who can make it in the world.
Did everybody hear that?
No, so the mics are not amplified.
Yeah.
They're for recording.
That's it.
And NJ, I think you need to.
Okay. Oh,
Everybody heard
that's okay. You can look there. I'll come up here and answer the question. Okay, the mics, your answers are not amplified. It's just for the video recording. So I'll repeat your answers. So could you say that one more time?
I think that Susanna saw potential in Pearl, and she wanted to really help her to make it in life.
Okay. She saw potential in Pearl and wanted to try to help her make it in life. But why do you think that she did? Anybody? Yes.
Hang on. Just one second.
Oh.
Sorry.
Through it. There you are. There you are.
I think Suzanne found a profession that she really loved and was really deeply motivated by her desire to bring authentic culture to the world. And she gradually realized that she had not only found what she was looking for, but it was had this dual purpose of making her life better as well as really accomplishing what she set out to do.
So she really found the pearl, huh?
Yeah, and she got it. Took her a little bit.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
I think Susanna started out to be kind of imperious and not particularly friendly to Pearl, because she has an ego, and her ego needs to be satisfied by finding a pearl to become her emblem of her professional success.
Yeah, so that leads me to another question. So did Pearl help out? Did everybody hear that response? Mm-hmm. Yes. So how do you think that Pearl helped out with helping Suzanne make that transition? Because Suzanne did come in kind of high horse. Does everybody agree? You know, she's bringing something to the prison for Pearl, and so how did Pearl help with Suzanne kind of a bit coming down a little bit off of the horse? Yes, ma'am.
Pearl had her own dignity and wasn't going to let her walk over. Let Suzanne walk over her.
Pearl had her own self. She may be in prison, but she is not in prison. Would you take that from her performance, that she really holds on to herself? Anybody else? Okay, family. What do you think, what do you see in the play? Let's look at this one. What do you see in the play are the issues that are being brought out with Black Pearl Sing? What are some of the issues that you see in the play? Oh, love it.
I guess speaking as a self-exiled former New Yorker, I can relate. I see there's always a search for, we need the next new thing, the next exotic thing. And that quickly passes and moves on. And so there's this dynamic and tension, I think, between Suzanne and Pearl about when Pearl says, well, they're not going to like me. Well, this is, maybe exotic now, but is Suzanne really interested in Pearl's growth and, her future? Or is this just the exotic thing for now?
Interesting. I love the question that that Pearl puts back at Suzanne and says to her, you think there's a chance they won't like me?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
So I'll stand when I speak. But I see issues of exploitation, and this reminds me of Imitation of Life with Claudette Colbert, when she goes to the black woman who works for her and says, I'm doing this pancake thing and you get 20%. But it was the black woman's recipe. So I see those kind of issues there.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for bringing that. We have one here. Thank you.
Can I just go farther with that? If exploitation, I don't mean to jump in, but I'm curious, is many of you, or all of you may, in fact, work for the Library of Congress. So how do you field questions like this about your own collections?
That was my next question. But
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But hold that question in mind, because
Actors.
that does pull from your response, and I want that question answered, but I want to give you a chance to.
Yeah, what I really liked was the way it addresses the correlation or connection between the races. You know, if white folks say, "Oh, now I got it, now I understand," no, they never do. And for me to get that is, I feel like that if guys tell me how women feel, I say, no, you never do. And I think we should keep that in mind and say, okay, we leave each other in that particular room, treat each other fairly, but never be so arrogant to say, now I know.
Yeah.
I just love that. I love that response. And June, I love your response. I think that's answered with Pearl saying, okay, let's talk money. First thing, she's like, with money. She's like, well, let me hear a song. Let me see what you got first, So all of the great questions. Now on to the big one of how you handle things with, what do you think from the perspective of the Library of Congress and how you collect information? Anyone who want to be brave? Anyone who want to be brave? I'm sure that when you're collecting information and resources that are at the heart of people, that's what the Library of Congress is. You have.
I can speak to it. I'm the reference librarian at the Folklife Center, and I curate the Lomax material. And so, so without a doubt, the story that you're telling has roots in two 19th century people trying to exist in the early 20th century. And exploitation, absolutely, yes, in the scene that you're talking about. John Lomax wanted to exploit Huddie Ledbetter, and because he wanted fame himself. Now, Ledbetter wanted fame as well. He was a well-known performer in his area, so he went in with eyes open. Today, we have to be respectful in the term that we use, intellectual property rights. And anytime that we have a question about, well, can I use this recording that was made in a prison? We tell people about that recording is not free. That recording belongs to that person, and it belongs to their heirs. And so we do our very best to be good stewards of the material. It's not easy because we're dealing with a lot of people who didn't leave a forwarding address, and we don't know how to find their families. But we do our very best to respect the intellectual property rights. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Well, and I'm.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
My job here is to select the free material that comes into the Library of Congress. That's actually my job. And one of the things about our collections that a lot of people, even people who work here, don't understand, there is a variety of collection policy statements over various topics. And it's on us to make sure we understand what's coming in here, why we're taking it, and making sure we are stewards of it and making it available now and in the future. And I think that's, and as he was saying with the intellectual property rights, I used to work in a copyright office. That's their job as well, is to make sure this material is we do the archiving, we do the protecting, but they're also making sure that people know who owns this material. That's actually something that they're actually trying to work on from a legal perspective. That's a big issue right now, is trying to make sure that people who are out there, I'm also a lawyer, that's why I know this. The reason why, if there's an ownership issue, to try and get that information to the Copyright Office so they can reconcile it, so reference librarians can say, oh, you need to contact these people to use this in this film. That's the whole point of that. So, as you talk to these people, let them know. If they know information about pieces, we try and do that as we do now, but the material that we're getting in now, we make it a point to try and be as inclusive within our collection policy guidelines as possible. So we're getting that material and we're making it a point to make sure that we take care of it and preserve it for the future.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anybody else?
I think it's I think it's important, though obvious, to point out that you, of course, are dealing with a different era when all of these things weren't the case, and so I think it's an important story to tell how things came to be collected. I think it is a wonderful story where we are moving to, and the awareness that exists in the world now and in cultural heritage institutions, to be able to look back at these materials that were collected in a different way and treat them differently and handle them differently. So that's
But might have been lost.
Yeah, it's amazing that we still have the stories, right?
And that we curate them differently and we think about them differently and apply these new principles and values and rules.
Good. Excellent. I want to move you back to the excerpts of the play, and I want to give you an opportunity to speak to Suzanne or to speak to Pearl. What would you say? What would you say in the bit that they have shared with you in these two excerpts? What would you want to say to Suzanne or Pearl? Yes, ma'am.
I would have a question for Suzanne. And that question is about why be dismissive of Zora Neale Hurston?
Because I think I'm jealous.
Yes. And it even comes out in the delivery of that line. She kind of throws it. That's one of the. But you're right. Absolutely right. I remember. The playwright wrote that.
Right.
I have a question for, is it Suzanne or Susanna?
Susanna. Susanna.
My question is, I noticed Pearl asked you several times about your mother and your family. Do you not feel like you have any rich tradition or culture in your life like Pearl has that you want to share? Every time she asked you, you shied away from it. And I feel like what she was sharing was so rich and deep in her tradition, but it seemed like you dismissed that in yourself, and you didn't have it, you don't know about it, your parents didn't share it with you, and I find that very sad, and I was wondering about that.
Well, that's a really good question. Know that this is the beginning of my journey with this play. So I'm trying to excavate some of these things that are left as clues but are not totally spelled out for Susanna. Now, you didn't see the whole play. We chose the scenes that we thought had particular meat. The director chose these two scenes because he felt that they spoke to the Library of Congress in terms of the setup and so on. But some of the other scenes go into their growing relationship more, and how she's able to get out of me more information, I'm able to get out of her more information, particularly around her daughter. And so there's a big character in here who's never on stage, right? Which is the daughter. And I guess bonds them to some extent. And so on. But there are other things that happen about me. One of the interesting things is I wanted a place at Harvard, and the material that I got in the field was stolen by a male, never happens, who got the job at Harvard. So there's that, again, spoken about. There's some more about my family, who obviously are wealthy and wanted me to have a more traditional life. a girl, a young woman, or not so young woman, getting on a train and sitting in the colored car with, traveling into prisons was not something my family was probably very pleased about. I think there are other things also implied, but I'm still trying to find that out. What did you think? What do you think might be her secrets?
I think that maybe she is ashamed that she doesn't have any rich traditions to pass on, whether it's songs or culture or, memories of grandparents and stories and folklore and, all of that stuff. I'm just, I don't know. I haven't seen the whole thing, but.
Helpful. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I wanted to say that. I have to wait.
Yeah, sorry.
I just wanted to say that what you gave us, Susanna, in the play about your parents just made me think that possibly a combination, they hate what you do and they hate the idea of you associating with people of color. And the fact that you just wouldn't go near it was like, I'm not going there, not going there.
Well, they live in the park. Right?
Pearl, what happened to your daughter? Why is it that you can't find your daughter?
Well,
Why have you not, what happened to your daughter? Why have you not been able to find your daughter?
it's a combination of things. Lack of technology. Because, it's harder through letters, and then she's been in prison for 10 years. So the daughter has grown up basically without her mother. And so she's in that growing up, she's, probably found a man. And, that's taken her away from where her mother can get to her. And then some people on the island don't read and don't write letters. And so they're not keeping her informed. And also her going to prison has kind of excommunicated her in a way. Even though the reason that she goes to prison is for the only reason you should ever go to prison, which is somebody trying to harm your child or harming your child. And so I kind of said, okay, listen, I'll take the 10 years because that person will never hurt anybody again because they're gone. But yeah, so that's why she can't find her. It's been 10 years. Some people on the island don't read or write. And so things have just been lost. And so what it taught me is that, I'm very, very fortunate to be living in the time that I'm living in. But it also, I think the relationship, this piece is very special to me simply because I am a performer who performs things that I create myself. And it took me not getting the exposure or the work that I thought I should be getting to decide to do that. I was like, I gotta stop waiting for somebody else to say yes or no to my life. So I need to write my own stuff. But just writing your own stuff is not enough. Every Pearl needs a Susanna or several Susannas. And so we help each other. And so just like Susanna says, people who cook meals and pick cotton have a lot to do with the fabric of how this country works. And so to the young lady who spoke about the secrets that they may hide, everybody has a role. And so the less we are ashamed of being the meal cooker or cotton picker, the more we can communicate those things to each other so that we all become richer for it. That's what I learned from the piece. That's what I learned.
To Pearl, at the end of the play, after the evolution of these two characters together, for what kind of things would you trust Susanna? For what kind of things would you not trust Susanna?
That's a good question, and I can't say everything without completely revealing what happens in the play, but what I will say is that there's a much bigger picture that Pearl has in mind. And it's not even about what I'm not going to trust Susanna with, it is the bigger picture of how we have to preserve our history. And everybody has their own way of doing it. So just like the descendants of Pearl, who now can read and write, have a different way of telling it, it had to start somewhere. And so for me, as a storyteller, as you know, a griot, the oral tradition should never be overlooked. It should never be overlooked, and it should never be done away with. We have to keep talking, because remember, if I tell the story and then my sister tells the story, you're probably gonna get two different stories. Some of the same facts are in the story, but it's just, you know, so that's what I think, you know, I discover at the end, is that there's some things that I can give, but there's some things that I have to hold on to.
Yeah. I thought I was going to get those kind of answers from my Library of Congress. You know, the importance of preserving our stories, and for me, the importance of who gets to tell the story. It's always the core of what we should think about when we are translating information, like Pearl just said. So I was expecting to hear that from you guys.
Can I add? Yes, so just as an artist, I think that there's a bigger story that is within the story, in that when an artist discovers that they're an artist, and I think the turning point is because we all, you know, we see that Pearl knows songs from when she was a child and that her mom taught her as a child, but there's something different about just singing, you know, songs in play with your mom or out. We did cheers when I was a young person, and we'd be out, you know, and my grandmother used to yell out to us, "Stop all that stomping and clapping." But it was our way of carrying on that tradition of some of the work songs, and we changed them. They were a little sassy, you know, but so I just think that the big story is in these two women discovering what their real destiny is and being okay with it not necessarily meaning that everything's going to be always great. Like there's a lot of pain in both of their lives. And how do you move on from that pain? And how do you use the pain? Because great art is often born of great pain. And so how do we make peace with that and, you know, not seek out pain, but just make sure that we are connected and don't become numb. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
If I can pick up on something else you said, Roz, one of the reasons that we're doing this project is something else that you said, which is the whole idea of how do we get, you know, young people, the next generation, to really own and shape and respond to these stories in music. And I worked part of the time in China, and in an area that basically has no culture. That's unfair to say, perhaps, but it's Shenzhen. So they bulldozed a mountain range, and they put up a free trade zone. And so people came from all over China, but there was no interest, really. There was no local culture because everybody came from other places. Now there is an interest in getting young people, and the young Chinese have no interest in traditional Chinese culture, none. And then, of course, with the you know, excesses and problems of the Cultural Revolution and so on. So we're starting to work with, Roz also teaches at Duke Ellington. We're going to be working with some students at Duke Ellington to shape and design a workshop, and we're going to be working with John Fenn and other members of the Library of Congress to help these students. We're calling it content and practice, with the idea that they're learning how to research themselves, research and go into something, not waiting for other people to tell them what to sing and what to do, but really finding out who their voice connects with, and then being able to get the tools and use your wonderful primary resources to then make their own event, story, song, whatever.
Poetry,
and
however they want it.
that's really what our company is about. So this is a catalyst for that. Whoops.
I love catalysts.
This is just something I learned this morning. I'm not with the Library of Congress, but I did do a workshop this morning about using materials from the Library of Congress for genealogy. And I learned something amazing to me, which is that the fellow who gave this workshop, who's African American, asked the question, what group do you think has the greatest number of inquiries about genealogy to the Library of Congress? There were a lot of answers in the room, but none of them was the right answer. The right answer is prisoners.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he pointed out that one of the reasons he believes that that's so is because once you're stripped of your rights, it becomes much more important to learn about your heritage. I just offer that because I learned it this morning.
Thank you.
And also a CP
A pearl,
for your voice.
another pearl.
You know, if you're in prison, you have plenty of time to go inward. Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you so much.
There's a question here.
One
We got
last thing.
another
Do
one.
we-
Okay.
Last one.
This is just a comment. It's not really a question. I've been in your position, the two of you, in my life, in another part of my life. And the scene in which you are teaching Susanna how to do Little Sally Walker. I've seen that kind of scene over and over again. And what happens often is that the person playing Susanna's role doesn't really understand the integrity of the song and the movements, and doesn't really thinks that oh well, if I can't do this easily, it's not that I need a whole lot of practice to learn how to do it. It's I can change it. So it's not respecting the fact that there's a right way to do it, and not every way is right, and the artistic integrity, the honor of the tradition.
Sure.
And that's a very important point, I think, to bring out even more strongly in this play. I've heard people say, oh, well, I'll just change it into a march, because they can easily do a march. But they're not really respecting or even understanding what that tradition. You would never change if you were doing a string quartet. Say, oh well, I'll change it into a rock song because that's what I can do. So I would just encourage you to work to make sure that what comes out to the audience is that the traditions have integrity. They need to be respected for what they are, and that they are important. And because they're not what society would say is, quote, the high form, that's the tension there.
Thank you
So-
so much.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful note to end on. Thank you, Library of Congress family.
Thank you very much. Thank you.